All right, traders. Hey, welcome on back this Thursday afternoon. How about that? 3/5, March 5th. Great to have Margaret, Tim, Genevieve, Tony, all of our students back inside our live trading room. Of course, if it's the afternoon meeting, it's after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Great to have all of us though back here inside of our room, inside of our social media platforms and streams alike. Down below, lower left at Cyber Trading You. If you're on YouTube, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, what is this? This restream layout's pretty new here, this whole new template. So I was looking on the corner right, corner left. We got X, we got Facebook, we got LinkedIn, we got TikTok, we got YouTube, of course. So down below, just whether you're on any of those platforms, make sure to hit the follow and subscribe buttons there. Now, with that in mind, we have a pretty interesting afternoon, but not in a great way, right? You normally hear me say, well, we got a lot to work with here going into the afternoon. I had a great morning. Well, those two parts are true. We had a great morning, and there's a lot to work with. It's not in the right direction, right? So right back on down we go, right back into the psychotic chop that we've been in for the last 3 months. It's ridiculous. Just right when we thought that we were going to bounce back up 2 days ago, like, oh, shoot, that was a false breakdown, you're saying? Like, oh my God, we're slingshotting back up Tuesday afternoon, this was. And then here we were yesterday, like, oh, we're popping back up again. Maybe we could actually finally get that continuated move. Well, we might still get it, but right back down we go. Holy smokes. This is kind of well, it's already been frustrating. It's just getting damn near annoying at this point. So going into the afternoon, not looking great. Hopefully if we have a strong final 70 minutes, 80 minutes to go from here, then there's still a chance where we could have a nice down wick and then perhaps tomorrow pop back up again. So don't get too pessimistic yet, but if you're frustrated, I understand, because right when you're looking for higher highs, you don't get it. Right when you're looking for lower lows, you don't get it. And just yesterday, we thought we would be back on the up and up, right back to support. So, are we going to get that brutal break lower for real, like we could have had on Tuesday, or are we going to see support hold one more time, strong afternoon back up? We'll find out. Now, with that in mind, let's just finish up the scanners here from top to bottom. We had a couple of good trades to work with, at least from earlier this morning, and we'll actually start. It's probably top percent gainer here, but this TPET trade, whew, not everything's dropping, right? And we've learned that more recently than ever, just because quite literally, you got these inverse ETFs that go up when the market goes down. So, quite simply, this is always a buyer's market, just dependent on what ticker you're looking at. Well, here, this is some low float, no name company, petroleum stock, obviously. So oil and gas in the news lately. But with that, though, this couldn't have worked out any better, right? This is what we ask for. This is what we dream about. And this was just a home run out the park. And you don't need to be in from $1 and sell at 250 to put a smile on your face, right? I mean, this is a cheap stock. So you could trade more shares of this with confidence. For any of our students that feel pretty confident with their day-to-day doings, if you're making money more often than not, then you should feel confident to say, hey, I can do this on 1,000 shares, 2,000, 5,000 shares perhaps. So, of course, on larger size, you could still walk out days pay, weeks pay perhaps. So you don't need to buy at the bottom, sell at the top. A lot of our traders today ended up jumping in from around 135 and pushed up from there, 155. I wish I took this trade. I was on a coaching call today with a few of our students, and myself and Doug in one of our private sessions here, we were looking for that TPET trade to pop, and it needed to hold over 155 as support in private coaching, right? That's the thing that you see on the top right on your screen. That's the message I wrote. I didn't jump in the trade. I was doing a few different things behind the scenes, let's just say. And I looked to my left, I looked to my right, I looked center in front of me here. And next thing you know, this thing is just running. I'm like, oh my God, really? This is like that easy? So I could have been much quicker to have taken the trade, but right where you're trying to be more patient, this ends up making the even better move. So, complete home run. So if anyone jumped in and out of this for about like 20, 30 cents, that is a huge trade for a cheap $1, $2 type of stock. And if you're still holding on or scaling out incrementally over time, congratulations. Again, this is like a home run. Everything that we asked for, right? And we know that not every stock is going to give this to us. Not every day we're going to see this perfect type of trend. I'll tell you, this morning I wasn't so optimistic. Like in pre-market, I thought things would be a little choppy, not as much out there for the taking. And we put the TPET on our list. Well, next thing you know, it ends up being like probably the best trade across this whole week, right? So TPET for this afternoon, I don't know if it's really going to continue. I don't have as much confidence now with it up 142% compared to at least earlier when it was up 42%. You know what I mean? Like the more it goes up percentage wise already, you're probably closer to the top of the roller coaster than you are the bottom of the roller coaster. So I'm going to put it on our list just because, hey, what if we see support build here? What if it can push back up? It's on a tight spread. It's very tradable still. But if you're asking me if it has a chance of being exhausted, I'd say probably, but we'll find out in just a bit. Now, again, though, there's plenty of other trades that did well, though, like the Turb stock. That was another mover from earlier today. This one a little bit wackier, though. Nice little iceberg on the buy side here right now on the right side of my screen. 21,000 share buy order. But, though, this thing had less liquidity on the order book. It was already up a lot from this week, let alone today. It's still up 80% right now. It was up a lot from this week, just from Tuesday, Wednesday, today. So, just another one that eventually you're going to see the top of the roller coaster come in sooner than later. This one we'll come back to by the end of the meeting. TPET's a little bit more manageable, easier to trade, I feel. Now, here's the thing, right? If you're a new member of CTU Insider Live Trading Room, or if you're on social, either way, you may have your own preferences, meaning you might prefer the small cap stocks. You might prefer the large cap stocks. For anyone coming more from an investor swing trading background, you're probably not really focused around these cheaper stocks, right? And I want to let you know, normally Fausto and myself don't focus on stocks below $1 on our watch list. Well, what happens when a stock breaks over $1? It starts showing up on everyone's scanners, not just mine and Fausto's, not just Grant, Leda, Margaret, Tim. I'm talking about like Gen Pop. I'm talking about general population, right? Everyone else across the whole freaking market. So that's actually what led the TPET trade to be so successful. Once it broke over $1, just imagine how many other people started to follow. Now, if every trade was like TPET, right? So that kind of takes me back to that stack trade for right now. This, breaking over $1 right here. So is there a chance for this to run? Absolutely. I think so. We'll put it on our list here. Stack. Now, just be careful, though, because if it doesn't, then it could end up like MOBX. And MOBX was kind of nasty to us yesterday. It tried to hold support earlier and didn't. Even this, it's kind of inching up right now. I'm not going to put it on our list just yet. Come back to it if we need to. But, probably we're going to focus on stocks at least a little bit higher, a little bit upper in price there. $5, $10, $50, whatever it may be. ALTO, I guess it's kind of near the highs, just a little flat right now. I'll come back to it if we need to. Probably hear me say that a lot about these trades today. Now, BATL, Battalion, so another oil stock, killed it on this trade from a couple days ago. And then even yesterday, I guess, if you caught that 1030 reversal, that's clean. That was a perfect move. We didn't really focus on that as much, though. So just pointing out back from Monday, Tuesday, today, I mean, this thing has been on fire. And, it's pulling back right now, though. So at least over the last hour, hour and a half, dropping back down. And again, look at the liquidity or lack thereof, as I like to say. Not really much out there. So with it pulling back, bad liquidity, and we'll focus on it tomorrow if we need to. SOC, Sable Offshore. I'm not a fan of this company. They've been under a lot of scrutiny. Fell off a cliff going back into the end of last year. I will say, though, they have been pushing back up, obviously today, but even from Tuesday of this week, they're at $8. Now they're at like 13 and change. So it is a pretty respectable move. Nice move up on Sable Offshore today. So, I definitely respect the short squeeze here where the shorts have to cover. Kind of a lack of volume out there. It's near the highs. If you want me to add this to our list for right now, we're not really at an excess of stocks, so we'll add that for the time being. TNGX, Tango, that one also looks pretty interesting. Let me just rip through the rest of the gainer side here right now. Just kind of come back to those in a bit. Anything that's just like an obvious yes, I'm just going to kind of jump to. This right here seems like an obvious yes to me. Why? Because it already bounced back up. It is pretty close to the high of the day. Not only that, this thing is right on the cusp of weekly or historical chart resistance. Talking about this right here, right? 1486, the high back from February. We're talking about 1468, the high back from November. Basically a pop and drop off that area. So it has been just kind of testing this all across the day today. And the moment that this level gets broken through here, this thing is going to go ballistic. So I like it. If it doesn't make that move today, that's all right, but it's a great setup. And that's where we kind of start with. Every trade begins with the entry, and every entry begins with, well, a big level. You have a pretty damn big level here. So I like that. All right. What else we got? BW. Brian pushing back up again. Look at this. Wow. So another chart that's been relatively strong of late. I mean, kind of stunk for a little while, but kind of like this is like my Zoom trade that didn't work out, but this is starting to look like how I wanted Zoom to look, ZM. Kind of breaking historical resistance more so than anything from here. And, at least this week, it's just been on a tear. Broke over that level yesterday, ripped way higher at the high of the day now. All right, BW, Brian W., one of our students. We got you. CDXS, VG. VG's also been pretty strong of late too. Up and down, but mainly at least holding higher lows of recent. Yeah, I like this chart. I like the order book too, at least. All right, number 20 is up like 11%. So I thought I was skimming through this here rather fast. I'm not making as much headway as I thought I would. Xerox, we saw that like a month or two ago. That was a dud. I don't really trust that too much. Snowflake, pop and drop, at least from earlier. Path, we like that trade. Just taking a look at the chart. Datadog, big shout out to Fausto Sun. Shopify, higher lows, trying to move up right now. Pass on that there. All right, what else we got here? Anything else looking good? I don't really see much else from the gainer side that we missed or like that we kind of ignored altogether. There might be some random stock that's popping that I didn't look at. As we go from top to bottom, there might be a stock going from bottom to top. So we'll do last call in a bit. We'll take a look there in just a moment, wrap up. Whoa. Well, if you know, you know, right? If you know, you know. And yeah, Victoria's Secret down big today. I thought they would have been down maybe like a week or two ago, if you know what I mean. All right, well, it's a great short. So I'm going to put this on our watch list here. VSCO. HYMC, another good short here too, seemingly. If we got the Victoria's Secret and that one already is on like thin liquidity, which I'm not a fan of, then there's not a need to put like more than one of those on our watch list. So as good as the HYMC trade looks on the chart, that's all right. We'll focus on others. AEO, that's a great move on the way down right now. That's on a good order book, good volume. On the weekly chart, oh, this rejected resistance pretty much right here at 26. Back from the end of last year, pop and drop, it held it, bam. Oh, that's brutal. So pretty good short, though, to work with on the AEO. ASTC down today. That's a pretty healthy long-term graph. I like that stock long-term, so maybe that could be a bounce over time. UEC, real quick. I'm going to just kind of hop over to the daily chart. So UEC still kind of holding higher low in relation to the major dip back from the end of last year. Iron still kind of holding support. I mean, a lot of these charts are modestly healthy. So it's not like a great necessity for us to like short all of these trades. They might be down today, but they're pretty healthy long term. I mean, Moderna is probably the best trade this whole year so far as like a larger cap stock goes. But listen, this made a pretty decent bounce so far. If the markets actually hold support today, this would be a better trade to work with then as far as a potential bounce. I know Todd loves the U stock. Pretty choppy today, but good long-term graph, right? So a lot of those are going to remain on our side list, on our B list, but I want to follow at least a trade that's weaker that could be a good short. Oh, you know what I probably got to do here? Let's see. No, I did it, actually. Wow. All right, well, here, you know what? If there's anything else looking great, folks, let me know just right now. I'll kind of just all hands on deck. Michael, Grant, George, got Bell in here. You got Elizabeth here. Let me know if anything else is looking good. I'll check it out here. You got HIMS. I see that. I'll check that out. HIMS definitely a weak chart long term. Had a good day trade on it from earlier this week. But like we talked about, what happens when the shorts stop having to cover? Well, who's been winning this battle the last 6 months? You know what I mean? So like this actually is a pretty good short chart here. I like it. Interesting and tradable. We'll go with it. Hims. Lyft, I thought was getting beat up for a little while also. Let's take a look on Lyft. Yeah. Oh yeah. This is right for the taking. Look at this thing. This is right at a pretty big dip point here back from August last year, 1316 pretty much. And it's been holding over that the last several days. Listen, the more it keeps kind of knocking into that as support, should look to crash below it. We're right on the 5% line, so I'll probably cut off from here, but the lift trade, I'll add. All right. So again, let me know if anything else is looking good though, folks. Got Genevieve, Grant, Lita, Margaret, Tim. Which you all know about, an Iraqi tanker got blown up by Iran. Oil is climbing up to $80 a barrel. Tried trading oil in USO, but not good. Yeah, so it's kind of tough to trade crude oil, at least in relation to the stock market, because oil is a natural gas ETF. So that's completely different from like oil slash crude oil. If I'm not mistaken, I think in the futures, crude futures. But yeah, I think that's the one I was thinking about. I don't know why I had bonds in my head. In crude futures, that's mainly what you could use. But otherwise, yeah, USO would be one, but that's not really like as much within our price range. It's moving up today. But I know that oil and coal, those are not like oil as much as they are natural gas. Definitely pushing up the last few days. The USO. Yeah. There used to be UCO. Oh, I guess they're still there. So you got USO and you got UCO. This is crude oil ETF. I believe this is built off of the futures, if anything. But otherwise, yeah, they're going up today. I mean, this is the cheaper one of those, if anything. So wouldn't mind adding UCO there, Jen. Just put that in mind. Yeah, later we got the stack trade already. So that one we saw looking great. Looking great. STAK, cheap stock. Oh, look at this already. Look at this already. We don't need anything else, right? I mean, I'll take anything else. I'm just pointing out that is it a necessity? No, we got this thing. This thing might end up being the next TPET, right? Oh, I kind of messed up my scanners here too. So you know what? I mean, I think that we're going to wrap up for the time being. I will take a look at some larger cap stocks though. Look at like a Tesla, Nvidia, Coinbase, Palantir. You know, a lot of those I just don't mind looking at, just seeing. Oh, there we go. Coin trying to bounce a little bit, holding support for the time being right there. You know, a lot of trades kind of look like this. So, hey, if we happen to have a decent bounce in this market right now, I'd love it, right? I mean, if you're bullish on this market, you better hope that support holds because for as long as we've been poking it, I feel like I'm the boy who cried wolf. You know, eventually something's got to happen, right? I mean, the same goes for resistance. But hey, if you're bullish, you got to see this area hold. It's already been tested numerous times the last several months. Something's got to give. So if it's not going to hold over this, watch out. If it does hold over this, you might get a decent little bounce to work with going into the afternoon. Oh, and that's right. I'm sorry, Jen. I didn't read your full comment. So if the markets do drop in that case, UVIX, obviously we've been talking about that all day already. So appreciate the reminder there, Genevieve. And yeah, the UVIX will kind of put on our list there. All right, right at you, out the gate there, folks. So Leda Genevieve, Grant, Leda Margaret, all of our students right now in chat. Kathleen, last one, we got it here. APP, app, and APPX. That's the one. Yeah, because app is up 3.5, which means APPX is up 7. So more than 5%. You know, it's a good side list stock, Kath. So, you know, it wouldn't surprise us to call it out, you know, if the markets do make that better bounce. Absolutely. And if you're in the trade already, absolutely rooting you on. You know that. So there's probably a lot of stocks that resemble this to a degree, right? That might be, you know, up that X amount of percent. Maybe like Amazon, maybe you could look at, you know, like an Apple, well, not Apple, I guess, but Amazon, the app trade, like you're mentioning. So there's plenty of those to work with. And, you know, hey, someone like Kathleen, someone like Leda, Genevieve, Grant, I could say this probably about like 95% of us. Don't want to leave anyone hanging, but you know what to look for in these trades already. You go through our classes, you do your coaching, you're in here day to day, week to week. So the more that you're here, the knowledge only absorbs that much more. All right, folks. So, hey, best of luck trading going into the close. If you're on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, etc., once more popping up on the lower left, make sure to hit the follow and subscribe buttons down below. Otherwise, if you wanted to join us directly inside our live trading room, you just scan that QR code as it's popping up there. If you're fancy with your phone, your camera, your mobile device, either way. And if you're not, well, just go right down to the link scrolling slowly on the bottom right there, c2.co/trial. And we look forward to having you, though, in due time. But for about 112 of us right now inside our live trading room, we have about an hour left of audio commentary going into the close. So we'll be back on in just a little bit here, folks. Stay